I am a slight audible for Una, but really excited to be here. Hopefully this will also be a sneak peek into that case study just referenced. But my name is Lisa Ralph. I am our Senior Brand Strategy Leader on the GENIUSLINK team. You may have met Diane Finkhausen, so a co-conspirator of hers. And what our team is essentially the kind of enterprise or corporate at-scale version of much of what we've been talking about this afternoon and throughout the week. So our GENIUSLINK team sits within GE. We are essentially an open innovation, crowdsourcing, and talent on demand center of excellence. So what we do is act as a connective thread to provide GE teams, customers, and literally the world beyond with instant access to talent and capacity that's allowing them to drive results better and faster than ever before. So we like to say we are the conduits or the innovation Sherpas that are helping our teams, our customers, our businesses, and leaders really realize the future of work. And this is done through an alternative, a better resourcing methodology that is essentially bringing together people, platform, and process in a scalable, single fashion, an operating system, might you say, that's really driving these incredible results. And we've begun to compare this a little bit to actually the cloud and the crowd. So when we hear a lot about open innovation, we hear there's this convergence of the crowd, AI. It's in driving this incredible transformation of teams, the way that we're operating businesses, and really seeing incredible outcomes, literally, that you've seen all today and this week. And what we are doing is acting, again, as that push to help teams adopt this. So if you think of the cloud, there's obvious globality, scalability, or elasticity in terms of managing for the ability to scale up and scale down, say, your computing power, your storage. You can create custom solutions or microservices, and then you're able to shift from CapEx to OpEx. This type of system, which just as John was saying, is really about that evolution of the human cloud or the crowd, is allowing us to do exactly the same thing, realize the same benefits. So things like globality. So our reach is literally transformed through these processes. We're able to create a flex layer of capacity to add on to our current incumbent resources, and we're able to drive results better and faster than ever before. I realized I need this. Okay. So part of this, kind of the impetus for our team was we are coming from GE. So you've probably heard GE in the news recently. We are a large conglomerate, and we were born, or the impetus for us was to say we see open innovation as interesting within the space. How can this actually apply for an enterprise? How can we take the incredible thought leadership, the academics, and actually apply this at scale? So what we've had to do is figure out not only how do you move from healthcare to aviation to, say, a sports team, whatever it may be, but also how do you find approaches that you can leverage across various functions, whether it be for your finance teams, for your marketing teams, engineering teams. And I think that's important too. If you noticed in John's prior kind of discussion, one of the learnings that they had from the Open Assembly was you can crowdsource almost anything. And that's something we truly believe, and that's why we think this expert operating system is incredibly powerful, because it actually allows you to apply these methodologies across literally almost anything. And part of that, again, is here. So as a business leader, you're asked a variety of questions. You're asked to deliver a variety of objectives. So things like, how do I enable a hyper-competitive workforce? How do I drive optimal performance? How do I deal with, as we've been talking a lot about shifts in the talent side of the equation, how do we manage for technology that's accelerating at rates we've never before seen? How do we infuse that expertise, that capacity, those processes, and do so at scale in a sustainable fashion for an enterprise? So that is where a lot of our team has come from. Our mission, as we like to say, again, we're the kind of this center of excellence, or innovation consultants, might you say, is acting as a connective thread between our investors, our teams, business sponsors, as well as the customers. So we are connecting need or problem to solution. So we're providing the methodologies, the access to increase agility, increase throughput, drive flexibility, precision, and speed. So the way that we're actually doing that, the way that we're actually doing that is through our expert operating system. And we consider this parsed into 3 key pillars. The first is what we call outcomes as a service. This is really the methodology or the process. So how do we actually apply open innovation? There's been a lot of really interesting kind of discussions, lots of reading. So how does that actually work in an enterprise? How do we manage for things like the culture? How do we identify what are the right missions? How do we match the right crowds with the right problems? How do we think about the right incentivization? So that is something that we refined over years and hundreds of programs. Also important, and what we think is actually quite interesting, is that we've taken a meta approach. And this may actually be, again, born out of the fact that you're solving for a breadth of industries as well as a breadth of functions, but we've developed a network of experts. So just like I know NASA does this as well, OA, we've developed a meta network of talent that we can tap into on demand. So we have about 21 million experts within our within our community, and this is incredibly powerful because that means no matter the toughest problem you have to solve or the operational optimization you need to find, we can create that match on demand. And then finally, as you've got your process, you've got your people, you need the digital operating system to underpin that. And that is really the vehicle that allows us to mobilize the process as well as the people. Okay, so as we've been doing this, obviously we've been around for a little bit of time, but we're beginning to see an increase in scale as well as adoption, and that's something that is incredibly important and incredibly exciting. This is not only within GE teams, but our customers as well. So kind of starting with open innovation. So that's kind of your first step as a practitioner. You're finding to see, is there a precise way that I can apply open innovation that I can test? Is this something that my culture is comfortable with? Is this something where I can derive great results from? We've begun to kind of move up the ladder into what we called crowd-powered business. So this is a way where instead of an ad hoc application of innovation, we're beginning to see this on a sustainable basis, which is incredibly exciting. We're also beginning to see this with a lot of our customers as well, which is great. So they're taking our expert operating system and saying, hey, I can apply this to a market research program. I can apply this to a technology scouting problem. I can redesign a giant industrial device, whatever it may be. But again, it's that solve for almost anything and utilize this as a new resourcing methodology that's going to drive better results and faster. Finally, moving up the curve towards the future of work. This is hopefully where we are all headed, but we believe this is something that is truly crowd-powered and tech-enabled. It's this complete convergence of the crowd, the cloud, and AI, and we believe that our operating system is an incredibly important component of that because it allows for that seamless transition, scaling, and accessibility. So a couple examples, again, I've been speaking to, we've designed this as a meta approach. So we've designed approaches that can work across almost any type of work category. We've got a couple on here, whether it be technology, UX, UI. We've done this through partnerships with incredible communities, many of actually which are either here today or here throughout the week. So really bringing those premier kind of cream of the crop organizations to create, I won't steal the word collective, but it's at the top of my head. So just an incredible power in that, again, human cloud and the approaches and processes that allow us to enact that. So we're seeing, these are just a couple examples of what we typically see. We've run, again, hundreds of programs, but these are the typical types of capabilities within this human cloud or the crowd, and then some of the diversity as well as scale of those. So a quick example of this. This is one, hopefully easy to understand. GE Lighting. was GE Lighting was looking around. They said, hey, we're seeing some new trends in the market, and that is intelligent lighting. They actually happened at the time not to have any sort of intelligence associated with any of their products. And they said, this is something we really need to do. It's an incredibly kind of a core customer need at this state, and it's going to help us stay competitive. So this is an interesting example because the team utilized this expert operating approach, so the ability to apply experts as a service. They were able to bring in different types of expertise across each level of the product development process. So from design to development, prototyping, and then actually scaling. They were also able to use what we call crowd-powered fastworks, so our methodology to accelerate innovation. And then what's really interesting here is the results. So literally from someone raising their hand and saying, we need to get into this space, to a product being available on the shelf was done in 18 months. So for GE, we typically run in about 7-year time spans to get products out on the market. So amazing, this was actually about 80% faster than the results that we typically see. Another unique component of this was the fact that through this utilization of open innovation, they were actually able to engage their target customer market. So not only were they quote unquote co-creating with them, but they were able to drive brand awareness and education about this upcoming product, which was really helpful to ramp up the commercialization as this went live. And then finally, if you can see, I guess it's this very light ring in the back, that is the actual product. So that is our GE Soul. So this is the first GE Lighting intelligent light bulb. And because it was something that was designed quickly with best of best designers to best of best developers, this has incredible, incredible ratings on the market. So just a quick example, I will skip through. And then these are some of our results. So this is why open innovation, crowdsourcing, freelancing, essentially this alternative resource methodology is working and becoming sticky at GE. So our team has run over 1,000 programs, this incorporating our network of about 21 million, and then you can see the important numbers in the middle of the screen there. So things like the typical program we run is 50% faster than any kind of incumbent process. The number of solutions you receive are about 90 per program. In the case of the lighting one, it was a little higher, but think of all of that optionality allowing you to define best of best before you even enact anything with it. And then finally, the real money shot is 6 billion. So over the past, we've been around roughly 6 years, have delivered over $6 billion of savings and opportunities for GE teams, customers, and beyond. And that's really where the rubber hits the road, when these approaches, whether they are new or incumbent, are making things work. They are driving better results, and they are allowing us to stay hyper-competitive. So that is a very quick overview. I know trying to keep us on time a little bit here, but that is our expert operating system. We are incredibly excited about it. We think it's inspiring because it is a sustainable approach to access talent and capacity and allow business leaders to leverage the precision, speed, and agility they need to stay kind of leading edge in a hyper-competitive market. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Awesome. A question for Lisa? One question, perhaps? A question up there.
Yes. That is a great question. So originally, because we were born out of GE and our first customers or guinea pigs, might you say, while we were learning, were internal, we did have the lion's share internally. What we've actually done since about 2016, we are heavily weighted externally as well. So a lot of, say, major sporting organizations, a lot of pharmaceutical companies, actually more sporting organizations, have leveraged our approaches on a repeated basis, which is really exciting because you're showcasing, again, that sustainable, scalable approach for them to kind of learn and employ these tactics as well. So also great question. I would say not necessarily. And the rationale for that is the fact that we are purposely curating partnerships with incredible communities who are highly diverse. So obviously there's going to be experts that are going to bubble to the top. So we do see kind of repeat customers or repeat solvers, might you say. But part of the beauty of it is that it solves for literally anything. So that diversity is incredibly helpful because the problems that we're seeing, because we're solving across industry, across function, is so broad that it's often a kind of sporadic match. So we'll use kind of various either automated or human algorithms to design kind of fit for each of the experts as well as mission. But there's not necessarily a Pareto, which is interesting.
Impressive. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.